everybody, welcome back to another tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do a jester hat. This is what one example looks like. This one's for a baby, little baby size. The pom-poms on it are quite small. And then I also have a larger one. This one does fit my daughter. It is a darker color, so it's like a tan and brown. But anyway, this is what we'll be working on today. These are so cute. As far as supplies goes, you will be needing, of course, your crochet hook. I will be using an eye for this. You also need your needle, yarn needle. I don't use a yarn needle, I use a smaller one. Works just as well. Of course, your scissors. And for this, I'm going to be using my Pom-Pom Maker. I love these things. They're the easiest to work with. You can also use your fingers. I don't like to use my fingers. It's just too difficult. So I just purchased those Pom-Pom Makers. I found mine at Hobby Lobby, but I do know that they carry them at Michael's and other places as well. I'm going to be working with two different colors. I have a hot pink and a light pink. And I will be doing my hat in the hot pink. So to begin, you will need to do a chain, and there's no specific directions for this one. What you're going to be doing is measuring from the top of the head down. So however you want the beanie to fit, that's how many chains you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and start with 35 chains. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 20, 25, 30, and I'm going to go to 35, so I just need to get 5 more done. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That makes a chain of 35. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to half double crochet in my second chain from hook. So I'm going to skip the first chain and I'm going to half double crochet into this chain. And then what I want to do is just half double crochet in each chain across. So half double crochet. I'm not skipping any chains, it's in every chain. So another half double crochet, and I will meet you at the end. Here I am at the last few stitches. I'm going to continue to half double crochet in the rest of my chains. And this is my last chain to half double crochet in. Now that we're at the end, this is what it should look like. All your half double crochets across. Here you want to chain 2 and then you want to turn. Now our first chain does count as the first stitch, and then what we're going to do is we're going to half double crochet in back loop only of each stitch across. So when you normally crochet, of course you go through the front here, but when you go through the back loop only, you kind of want to flip it up and you'll see the V up here. It looks like a V. So that's where you know the back, this is the front loop here, the front loop's here, and the back loop is here. So when a pattern calls for back loop only, what you want to do is just single crochet through the top, down the back, And of course your needle or your hook will come out the back side. So again, I'm going to wrap my yarn, go down through the top, bring it out the back, pull my work through, and finish off with my half double crochet. And again, I want to do that all the way across, so I am going to just be working in this back loop here of each stitch across. And if you noticed, I did not work in this first stitch because, like I said, the first chain 2 counts as this first stitch. So just continue all the way across working in this back loop only. With your half double crochet, and I will meet you at the end. At the last few stitches, I'm going to continue to half double crochet in the back loop only till the end. I have 2 more stitches to go, and 1 more. The end is a little difficult, but I mean it's easy to see. Put it in there, half double crochet. So once again, you're at the end of your row. You just want to chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to repeat this process for 2 more rows. So again, after you chain 2, you're not going to half double crochet in this very first one because this is your first stitch. So you want to single or half double crochet into the next one, which will be here. And again, continue it all the way across to the end. When you get to the end, chain 2 and then repeat that half double crochet in each stitch across. I will meet you at the end of the 4th row. This is row 1, row 2, we are on row 3. I will meet you at the end of row 4. Here I am at the end of row 4, and if you can tell, it's already making the ribbing look. I'm going to continue to half double crochet in the back loop only to the end of my row. Then this is where it gets a little tricky to see, but here is my next back loop here. And then of course, to make your rows even, you do have to half double crochet in the turning chain 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it through and half double crochet there. I've just decided though that I do want to change my color to the light pink. So instead of doing my full half double crochet, I'm going to once again show you how I change my color. So I will stick it into the stitch and I'm going to pull it through, except for I'm not going to continue to pull through. What I'm going to do is change my color here, grab the new color, and once again, this is how I do my color change. So like I said, I didn't pull it through. What I'm going to do is wrap my new color around my old color, just like if I'm tying a shoe, but I'm going to tie a knot around my hot pink. I'm going to tie a knot with my light pink around my hot pink. You can pull it as tight as you want, it don't matter, because this is still going to move up and down the other color. So here I have my tied on new color. I still have the 3 on my hook. I'm going to just pull on the tail and pull it as close as I can to my work. From behind, this is what it looks like. It's real close to my work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to drop my hot pink and pick up my light pink and then pull the new color through all 3 loops on the hook. So you can't tell that I changed the color. You won't be able to see this knot in there. It will be covered up. Then you're going to chain your 2. And then what I like to do, so I don't have to go back and hide and tuck in my tails, I'm just going to hide my work up along as I crochet. So once again, you're going to go into the back loops and you're going to skip this first one and start into the second one. And I know it's going to look a little bit difficult, but I am going to crochet around my tails. And I'm actually going to bring them up around on the other side. It'll be a little easier. So here we go. I'll go down through my stitch. I'll pull these close to my work. I'm going to pull through and then pull through all three. And once again, I'm going to continue in the back loop only of the next stitch, and I'm going to continue to work around my yarn to tuck in those tails. Pull through all three. Just continue that across while holding in your tails, and if it's too hard to hold in your tails, no big deal. Just leave them loose, go back and tuck them in at the end of your work. So just continuing across, back loop only. You're going to do this for another 4 rows with the new color. After I've held my tails in, I will go ahead and trim them off. I'll do one more stitch. And then this is where I'll go ahead and cut them. I've done enough stitches so they'll be fine. I'll cut them here. Discard of those. And then just continue across with your half double crochet in the back loop. So go ahead and do this for your 4 rows, and I will meet you at the end of your 4th row. Okay, here I am at the end of my 4th row of the light pink color. So we got 1, 2, 3, my 4th row. I'm going to continue to half double crochet in the back loop only of this row into this one, and then of course into the turning chain 2. So there I have finished my 8th row, my 4th row of light color. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you're going to continue doing the same pattern, changing every 4 rows until you get to about the 35th row. I think I'm going to go to 34 rows to make it even. So again, this is where I'm at with my color change. I'm going to grab my new color, wrap it around my light color, my old color. Of course, like if I'm tying a knot, pull it tight, grab the shorter tail, hold my old color and pull this tail down close to my work, and then once again pull the new color through. Chain 2, turn the work, and continue across with your half double crochet in the back loop only. Continue to do this for 34 rows total. So I have 8 done already. I'm going to continue till I hit that 34th row. At the end of my 34th row, I will meet you there. Okay guys, here I am. I actually went to row 40. I decided to make it the size to fit an adult, since the other ones that I have are baby sized and child sized. But I decided to go to row 40, so here I am at the end of row 40. I'm going to continue to do my half double crochets in the back loop only. I do have 2 more to go. And then of course in the turning chain 2. So if you do the turning chain 2, your edges will look real even. If you miss the turning chain 2, then it'll start curving, and some edges will get smaller, some will look larger. So just make sure you do go into the turning chain 2 of each row. So the way that I measured this to figure out how large or how many rows that I wanted it to be, you just what you want to do is just measure it on the head. For my example, I used the mannequin. I'm going to try to do this one-handed, but what I did is I wrapped both pieces around it And when it got pretty close to what I wanted, then I went ahead and stopped there. So basically I folded it in half and put it around to see if it would go around her whole head, and it did. So it also would fit on my head. So if you wanted to make it for a man or a male version of this, then you may have to go a little bit bigger, but because it is in the rib stitching, it does stretch a little. If you can see that stretch. So getting back to the end of your row, my stitches did come out. I will fix that. My last 2 stitches. Now what we want to do, and sorry about that, the camera was all over the place. I didn't do so well, I guess, doing it one-handed, but hey, I tried. So now that we're at the end of this row, what you want to do is we're going to single crochet this together so it makes it actually a folded in half piece. So to do that, you want to chain 1, of course, turn your work, and you will be working on this side. Now you want to grab your other end, fold it together, and you're going to be working in both thicknesses. So we're going to start through this side and end up in this side. Now this edge is kind of hard to find, but you do want to start in this beginning. It would be your foundation chain, so I want to start in this beginning one there. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go through both. Instead of working in the back loops, now I'm just going to go work through both thicknesses. So and I'm also going to go into this first stitch here. Previously with the chain 2 we were skipping this one, but with the chain 1 now you just want to work into this one. Grab the other end of your work, and like I said, put it through this first chain here. And then, oops, so put it through the first chain, and then just do your normal single crochet. So the back side looks like this, the front side like that. Now you want to work into your next stitch and into the next chain on your foundation row, and you're working through both thicknesses. So do your single crochet, and basically you're going to do that all the way across to the end. And of course I'll show you how to do the end, but you will be single crocheting up to the corner together. So I will continue to work through both thicknesses across. Try to move this so it doesn't get so blurry. Focuses on what I'm doing. Okay, again. And it's not too hard. I mean, it seems complicated, but if you just hold your work together, it pretty much falls together. There's no wrong way to do it if you're holding them. They're pretty much even, just as long as you go through both thicknesses. And the reason why it's not going to be that big of a deal is because this is actually going to be the inside of your beanie. So you won't be able to see how this piece here, because we're going to flip it inside out anyway. So, but that's what it looks like on the other side. And just continue to work through both thicknesses across, and I will meet you towards the end. Okay, here I am in the last few stitches. I'm going to continue to work these together through both thicknesses with the single crochet. And now we're about in the corner stitches, because here's the last stitch here from the row, and then you have like 2 spaces back here, so go ahead and stick it into the second space. And then on this one you'll actually be working in this turning chain 2, so you want to go ahead and stick it through the turning chain 2, and then in the beginning where you started your beginning chains, right into this hole. And what you want to do here is work 1, 2, and then 1 more single crochet, so for a total of 3 single crochets in this corner stitch. The reason for that is because as you get to this point, you're going to turn your work so that way this folded edge is to your left side, and then you have the top up here. And what you're going to do is try your best to evenly space single crochets across the top through your both thicknesses. And of course, here's my tail. I'm going to work around that to tuck it in right away. And this one gets a little difficult, but I just try to work like anywhere I see a space. As long as I'm grabbing onto something, I should be okay. So I'm going to go into this first hole here and just hold my work together, because usually it'll put me right through on the other side anyway. So single crochet there, and again you're going to evenly space single crochets all the way across. Next I'm going to go in, and if you notice, here's the half double crochet from the previous row. Usually I like to go into the space between here and then into the stitch. And then here I'll go into this one, and then again into this smaller space, then around the stitch. So if you just follow me, I'll go in here, which is the little space before the stitch, push it through the back side, do my single crochet. Once again, I want to go around in through the stitch here, bring it through the back, my single crochet. There's not really a space here, so I will go around the next one, single crochet. Now again, I'll hit the smaller space here through both thicknesses, which you can see in the back. I went through that one back there, and single crochet. And then I'll just repeat that across. I'll just kind of go around here. Like I said, there's not really a wrong way to do it, just as long as you are going through both thicknesses and you're single crocheting the top part closed. So here's where it's closed. Here's where I still need to crochet across. I will continue to do this up until this point, and I will meet you here. So here I am towards the end of closing up the top. I'm going to continue to do my single crochet evenly spaced, going through both thicknesses. And then I just have like this corner piece here where it's still a little bit open. I just want to make sure that I get probably 2 more single crochets done within there to close it into the corner. And then to finish it off, I'll just go into this corner area towards the corner here and pull it through, cut my yarn. And you don't need a super long tail, just long enough to tuck in at the end, and then of course pull it all the way through, make sure it's tight. And there you have the top of your beanie is enclosed, the side of your beanie is enclosed. Here's the back side of it. This is what the back looks like. This is what the back of the top of it looks like. Of course, here's my little tail I was crocheting around to tuck in, but you know what, that's not going to matter because it's going to be on the inside. Here's the bottom of the beanie. So now you're looking at the inside of it, the finished top, the whole thing. Now what we're going to do is turn it inside out. Of course, here's the little corners in there. You want to make sure that you I'm just going to stick my hand in there and pop them out. So that way you can see that corner. Pop this corner out there. Now kind of, once you turn it out, inside out, it gives it kind of that little fluffy kind of a look. And then here's your corners. They look rounded because you turned it inside out. Here's the side edge that you did, and you can't even tell that you single crocheted it together. That's what it looks like, and here it is on the inside, here it is on the outside. So you can't even see the single crochet. And the reason why I single crochet it that way is because it still gives it the rib look. So here's the inside, here's the outside, and it continues on with the rib look. That's the reason why I single crochet it. So basically you have your finished beanie right here. The only thing now that you need to add is the pom-poms. I'm just putting it on my mannequin head. And this is what it looks like on her head. So now we're going to work the pom-poms and stick them here and here. Now, the reason why I said I use my Pom-Pom Maker is because these are the easiest thing to use. You can use your hand, you can use popsicle sticks, put them together. I've seen people use cardboard, just whatever your mind wants to do. If you use your fingers, you do have to wrap it around and around and around until you have it as thick as you want. Then you don't want to do it too tight because then you can't get yarn through here, but then you can put some yarn on your needle here, and you can stick your needle up through your fingers, pull it around, tie it up here, and then you would tie it off, and then of course you'd pull it off your fingers. You'd have your loops to cut, and then your pom-pom would be made. The needle would be the best thing to use though, because it does fit up through the fingers, and sort of like you're sewing, you can pull the yarn through. So that method would work pretty good. That's how I used to do it. I just don't do it that way anymore because now I have my Pom-Pom Makers. They're so easy. The way that I use my Pom-Pom Maker is, of course, I believe it's Boyer Clover brand. They sell them at, I've seen them at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and Joann's, but I honestly don't purchase. You get a couple in a pack. I mean, I have different sizes. I don't have all the sizes. I would like to go get all of the sizes, but you get like 2 in a pack. Like these 2 came together, I believe. These 2 came together around $5.99, $6.99 on up. But I purchase them when I have the 40% off coupons or the 50% off coupons. It just makes more sense to me because then you get a good deal. So how you use this is you pop open these 2 sides together, and then you're going to hold them together this way. So it looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and use my 2 strands of yarn for my pom-poms. I'm going to start them here, hold it, and it doesn't really matter. Actually, I'm going to hold it this way. I'll start it on this end, and it don't matter if these are sticking up just because they'll be a part of the pom-pom anyway and you won't be able to tell. So I'm going to go ahead and start winding these up. So I just go around in a circle with both of these held together. I just want to keep going, and I want to just make sure that I'm filling up this bottom. They don't have to be like pushed together like that. You can leave spaces. That doesn't matter just because it'll fill it up anyway. And you want to keep doing this until the yarn is evenly across here. So you need to have all this filled up with yarn across and even. So I'm just going to keep winding it. And I apologize if I'm going fast, but this part is not a really big deal. Just to give you an idea of how I do my pom-pom. I want to make sure that I'm getting it over here on the edges. And I'll just keep going back and forth with it. Again, I'm getting this edge here and then just going back again. I love these. So does my daughter. She makes tons of pom-poms. I find pom-poms everywhere, and I always find these thrown on the floor with a ton of yarn all over my floor because she's cutting them and making sure they look pretty. So I just have a little bit more to go. So there we go. It's almost even there. I mean, I can stop here if I want, or if I want it a little thicker. Go a few more times. So I think I'll stop here. What you want to do now is you just want to push this back shut, and you want to make sure that it fits too. If it doesn't fit and it's real tight and it won't pop back in there, you want to go ahead and take some yarn off just because it's a little bit too thick. That's how you'll know. So it don't matter where I cut this off. I'm just going to go ahead and cut it off about right here on top. Then I'm going to leave that. Then I'm going to repeat the process on this opposite side. I want to pull these out. Again, I want to wind my yarn till it's even, and I'm going to push this back in. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and as soon as I have that side done, I will meet you back there. Finish wounding the second side. I'm going to push it back in. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. And then from this point, this is what your pom-pom maker looks like. So it's all wrapped. Now what I need to do is my scissors here. I hate to say it, but they're pretty dull for this. So I'm going to pull out my better scissors. They're really sharp. These are pretty good scissors. I got these in a pack of different sizes. Loved, great purchase. I don't use these for everything, only when I need something to cut my pom-pom. Eventually, maybe they'll get dull, who knows, but I will just go get more. So what I'm going to do is, if you notice, there's like a hole here, and in the pom-pom maker, before you wrap it, you see there's this like rivet or indent or space here. Anyway, I'm going to be cutting through the space here, and because it's through here, it makes it so much more easier to be able to cut these ends of the pom-pom. So I will stick it in here. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting. And it is hard to, like, you want to stick it all the way in and cut all this. So you just kind of want to clip it with the tips this way. Kind of work with it. Or like with these scissors, I can use the back of it and it just cuts it right off. I mean, some scissors that are duller, you have to just kind of clip the edges up here all the way across. My scissors are just wonderful. This is why I use these, because I could stuff it in there and then just cut away. So this is what it looks like after you cut it. All of these pieces fluff out on both sides, and then you can see this indent. You want to repeat the process on the other side. So just go ahead and cut away. And you don't have to fill these up full of yarn either. It just depends on how full you want your pom-pom. Again, there we have it. Missed a couple here. Now with this part, I'm still going to hold both of my strands together just so that it makes it thicker, because now I'm going to be knotting around this. And if you knot it too tight or too hard, you can snap your yarn. I've done that plenty of times, so I just use 2 pieces and then I try to tie it as tight as possible without busting it. So now what you're going to do is get your yarn and you're going to put it through here. Just kind of stuff it in there, flip it up, bring your yarn up through here. Of course, cut it off so you have two ends. So bring your ends up here. Move my camera up a little bit. So your two ends are up here. Now you want to go ahead and tie. And as you tie it, you want it to go back down in between to the center of your pom-pom. Of course, pull it tight. And then here I'm going to do a surgical knot. I'm going to wrap it once, wrap it twice, just so that way the knot don't come out. Of course, shove that knot down in through there. And if you can see, I have my knot down in there. So now I'll be able to take this apart. And I do want to leave these tails long. I don't want to cut those off. What I'm going to do now is open up the sides of my Pom-Pom Maker. So you'll pop this side open, and if you can see, it's all fluffed together. Turn it. Open these two legs open. And once again, you can see how it's all fluffed up. Then you want to pull it apart. So this comes totally apart. And this is what it looks like when it's taken apart. And of course, this is what your pom-pom will look like. The sides are kind of flat. So what I do is I just work it out. I'll shake it in my hands. And I'll make me my fluffy pom-pom. So this is what my pom-pom looks like when it's complete. That is why I love my Pom-Pom Maker. Now with the pom-pom, you want to go ahead and get your beanie. Another thing I didn't do is run an edge of single crochet or anything around this. I don't mind the way that mine looks. This way it looks really cute. If you want to edge it, you can do one row of single crochets around to edge it. Like I said, I don't do it. I just leave mine like that. Now, the pom-pom, of course, is going to go up here into the corner. So the way that I do that is I get my crochet hook, I stick it inside of the beanie all the way up to the corner. I'll push it through. I get my pom-pom, and this is the reason why I didn't cut my long strings, is I pull the two from this side of the pom-pom, I pull them through to the inside of the beanie. So they are now on the inside of the beanie. I will do the same thing again with my crochet hook, but now instead of on the same side of the corner, I'm going to go to the back of the corner, push my crochet hook through, and without letting these ones fall out, got to kind of hold on to them. It's a little practice and you'll have it. Didn't take me too long. Anyway, I'll pull these through to the other side. So in through the other side, and if you notice, there's plenty of room for the pom-pom to grab onto between the stitches. So on the inside, I have this set and I have this set of my strands from my pom-pom. I'm just going to go ahead and tie a knot here, pull it tight, and then I want to do a surgical knot. And I'm just going to make sure that that didn't pull too tight, because if you see on this side, it looks really cute. So once again, I'll just do my surgical knot, which will be wrap it once, wrap it twice, pull it tight, and that shouldn't come out. I will repeat that one more time just to make sure. Once and twice. I'm very confident that my knot is not going to come out. I'm not going to tuck these in. I'm just going to trim them short because it's on the inside of my hat. I'm so confident that I don't need to worry. And if you are worried, what I do, to be honest, is, you know, most of the time I do tuck them in, but because this is inside of the hat, the corner, not a big deal. If you're a little concerned, I just use a tiny bit of glue, even super glue, because if you just put like a little tiny dot on this, it's gonna just keep it glued together. Super glue would be fine in the wash. I mean, there's no reason why it's gonna, with a little tiny dot, it's not gonna hurt anything. And normally I like to use fray check. I just don't have any now, so normally with fray check, all I would do is stick fray check, just like the super glue, put a little bit right there on the knot, and it won't come out. That's what I do, but for the most part, I'll tuck it in. Just on these hats, not a big deal. It's on the inside. So here's one pom-pom. I'm going to go ahead and make the second pom-pom for this side. And after it's put on, I will show you what the hat looks like on the mannequin head. I will see you there. Okay, here I have the finished Jester Beanie. I put both of my pom-poms on each side. I also flipped this up. 35 stitches to begin with. If it's too long for the head, you can always flip this up. I like it flipped up if it seems long. So in order to change this pattern to make it for a smaller size head, instead of chaining so many at the beginning, instead of chaining your 31 starting from up here to here, just kind of eyeball the head, and you just want to do top of the head to the forehead. That's how much you want to chain if you don't want to flip this up. If you want to flip it up, then you can have, you know, like I said, however many chains extra down here to have this little flipped up brim area. If you don't want that, then just chain from the top of the head to here, from here to here, and then do as many rows around that'll wrap around the head before you do your single crochet to stitch it together. This is what the top looks like. So it's straight across. If you hold these up, you can see how it's straight across. I love it how it flips down. My daughter loves this hat. These look so cute on little girls, but this can also be for a guy too. Of course, if you just change the colors. So again, just whatever size you want to do. For a baby, you wouldn't go as many rows around. You wouldn't go as many in the beginning chain. For a child, of course, here's my example on a baby. I only did this many chains down, probably more like 15, 20. And this is the whole hat. It would fit a baby. And then here we have a child size. It's a little bit longer, not as many rows around. And I did the big pom-poms on this one as well. So those are the different variations. I will write up the pattern. Eventually it'll be on Ravelry. I'll put a link to that as soon as it's up. It probably won't be up right away, but as soon as it is, I will have that link with other patterns on there. I'm trying to get all my tutorial patterns written up and put on Ravelry for anybody that isn't a beginner and that already knows how to crochet. Again, thank you so much. Let me know how you like this. Would love to see photos. Email them to me. Find me on Facebook. And let me know what you think of this tutorial. Thanks so much.